For years, web development forced a stubborn compromise. You could build fast using drag-and-drop editors, or build right by writing the code by hand. But cracking the surface of a rapidly built visual site almost always revealed a tangled structural mess underneath. The problem with fast visual builders is what happens under the hood. To make drag-and-drop functionality work, these platforms automatically generate deep, nested layers of redundant containers. It is a messy output developers call div soup. This side-by-side diagram illustrates exactly what that looks like. On the left is a clean, flat HTML tree. On the right is the bloated div soup generated by a traditional builder. That extra code weight drags down site performance, slows load times, and turns future maintenance into a nightmare. Once your site is built on that messy foundation, you fall into a secondary trap: vendor lock-in. You are forced to use their proprietary hosting ecosystems and restricted to whatever third-party integrations they allow. The convenience of legacy no-code platforms is an illusion. Developers are trading total ownership and architectural integrity for a superficial speed boost. Webstudio is the open-source alternative built to fix this. It operates under an AGPL 3.0 license and is backed by a community of developers with over 8,500 GitHub stars who demand a higher technical standard. Instead of hiding CSS behind oversimplified sliders, Webstudio gives developers unabstracted, direct control over all native CSS properties. A visual UI block translates directly into a single semantic HTML tag with zero garbage code or wrapper divs. This one-to-one translation makes the exported code indistinguishable from a layout meticulously hand-coded by a senior engineer. This rigorous standard of code generation happens automatically in the background, even while supporting real-time collaboration among cross-functional teams. Webstudio physically proves that visual development speed does not require sacrificing structural code purity, but the front-end code layer is only half the equation. The back-end data structure relies on a headless-first architecture. The platform strictly separates the visual builder interface on the front end from the monolithic database logic on the back end. That flexible connector lets developers plug in any headless CMS they choose, rather than being forced into a proprietary backend. Decoupling the interface from the database means the design is no longer a hostage to the host. You own the data and the display independently. The final stage of the web development lifecycle is deployment and infrastructure control. When you combine an open-source model with a headless architecture, you gain the ultimate leverage: absolute hosting flexibility. Webstudio's export mechanism lets developers take their pristine, semantic HTML and CSS out of the ecosystem entirely. You can deploy that code anywhere, host on edge networks like Cloudflare, deploy it to Vercel or Netlify, or use fully custom servers. The trade-off between the speed of a visual builder and the performance of handwritten code has been eliminated. By pairing visual design with a portable, clean codebase, Webstudio restores complete web sovereignty to the developer. If this breakdown saved you hours of research, hit subscribe.